Okay, today we're here at the home of Roy Raines. He's my dad. Today is July the 23rd, 2022, and we're going to talk about some things that is really dear to our heart. His life and also our aunt Cora Jean Duke. And so here we go. Okay, so tell me your full name.
I'm Roy Bethel Raines, born 1927, April the 19th, 1927.
Very good. And tell me your full name.
Cora Jean Duke. I was born on July 26, 1933.
Okay. And who are your parents?
Homer and Bertha Raines.
My
Bertha and
parents,
Homer Raines, I guess.
Homer, Bertha, Sadler Raines.
Okay, very good. So, when you were born, where did your parents live?
Lived on Joe Duke Ridge. Well, they say it's Thurston Young Road now, but it's down here in the 13th District,
Oh, Cannon County.
Cannon County.
Okay. And
I was born back there, and I've never been back there since I was born.
okay, so did they live the same place when you were born?
Don't ask me.
No, who knows what.
Uh,
When Cora Jean was born, we lived in the George Scott Holler.
okay. And how many siblings do you have? How many brothers do you have?
I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters,
2 brothers and 2 sisters. What are their names?
Clark Raines and Ray Raines, and Thelma Raines and Cora Jean Duke.
Very good. Okay.
And both my brothers are dead. Thelma, she passed away.
Okay. So y'all the only 2 left of the
Yeah. I'm
your
the oldest
family.
and she's next to the youngest.
next to the youngest.
I figured he'd say I was oldest.
Okay, so what, growing up, what are some things that you can remember that you did together? Some games that you played, or what was life like growing up?
I'm a little bit older than her.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't play together much.
Didn't play together, but you worked together some, huh? You
Well,
had to do chores together?
Uh-huh.
I done chores.
I didn't do no chores. They run me off. I mean, they throw rocks at me and everything else.
I left here in 1927. No, 1947. Went to Michigan and worked in the automobile plant for Kaiser and Fraser. I got me a job the 8th of January, 7th or 8th of January. I like to starve to death before I ever got me a job. I was playing pool in a pool room, and I don't know where I got the money. I don't know how I had any money. This old man's watching me play pool, and I was a good pool shot back then. I got to talking to him, told him how many times I'd been out there trying to get a job at Kaiser and Fraser. And he sat down and wrote me a note and told me to give it to the guy in personnel in the morning when I went in there. I handed him this note, and he jumped on the phone, and I heard him talking to somebody. Said this guy is too light for that kind of work. It was only picking up an air hose. Something it was. He didn't know what kind of work it was. But I worked for Kaiser and Fraser, and I worked for Ford Motor Company. I worked for General Motors. I worked construction.
And you went out west.
I went out South Dakota working a wheat harvest in 1945. I had never drove a tractor. I had seen one or two, but the old man asked me if I could drive a tractor, and I told him, well, I never had seen one, but I had. And he said, get on that tractor there, it's on Sunday. And he said, just drive it. He said, you can't tear it up. And so I drove it. He put me driving tractor, and I drove tractor out there in the wheat harvest. Then they threshed the wheat right there in the field. They put it on a pallet and you hauled it to them. I stayed out there about 7 weeks. And I should have stayed longer. He wanted me, no, his nephew wanted me to stay longer. I was working, making 75 cents an hour. And he said, I'll give you $1 an hour. But he said it does get cold here. So I headed south.
So didn't you work in a theater too? Was that, that wasn't South Dakota, but where was that at?
Paris, Illinois. I took up tickets in the theater in Paris, Illinois in 43.
43. So you would have been how old?
I was 16.
16?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd go up there, I went 2 years in a row and scoop corn. Back then they gathered corn in the ear and hauled it in, and I scooped corn all day long. I've done that 2 years in a row.
Okay, so tell me about some games. I've heard some stories about playing Crack the Whip and maybe
The games we played
the games
in
you
school.
played. Yeah, or
Well,
growing up.
about the only games that we played was drop the handkerchief. And when the company would come, get enough there, we'd play Annie over in the house. I mean, over the house. I know Daddy said, you don't tear the roof off this house.
So what was Annie over? What?
Well, you throw the ball, line up, and throw the ball over, and the one that catches, he should go around and try to catch the other, catch the one that throwed it. And
Did you get to play that game? They didn't let you play?
I guess I was too little.
and played at school. We played drop the handkerchief, hide and go seek.
Marbles?
Played marbles at school, mama peg, everybody, all the boys, they carried a knife, you know, they played mama peg. And trade knives. The day you don't do it, you don't dare to have a knife at school.
How'd you get to school?
What school did you go to?
Well, I started school at Shibagi in 1934. Today they call it, they went from Shibagi to Moortown, from Moortown to Smith Grove.
So how did you get to school?
We walked to school. I never rode a school bus in my life. Rode a school wagon, but I never rode a school bus.
Who was your driver?
Well, Daddy drove 2 weeks, and I think Uncle Andy drove 2 weeks. They took time back, right?
Did you get to ride the bus, the wagon?
No,
Go
she
to
weren't
school.
old enough to.
Got round on Peeler Bridge and I had to walk a mile and a half every day. Then a mile and a half back.
I went to 3 different schools. Parker Hill, Shibagi, and Burt.
Okay. So, who was some of your teachers?
Well, the last teacher I had was Miss Jordy Brown. And I had Beecher Bourne, Snoker Lee, Miss Isla Parker, Ernestine Scott, Stella McQuarrie, I guess
Never
that's
a lot
about
of
all of
Yeah.
them.
Did you ever get any spankings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got
Plenty
spanked.
of them.
Plenty of them? He did. You didn't
Yeah.
get any?
Well, I don't know where did I don't know.
Yeah, I got a
I wasn't in school where he was at.
Oh, you weren't?
beach
Oh,
and
no.
born, I got a whipping, and he whipped about 4 or 5 of us because we didn't have our lesson. And I told him, I said, now, this girl, her name was Blondell Hagwood, I'll never forget it, and she didn't have her lesson either. But he whipped us boys, and I told him about it. He said it weren't none of my business, and he whipped me again. He whipped me pretty hard. I had the marks on my back, they probably still scars. He said it weren't none of my business.
Where'd you get a spanking with? A paddle or
No, a switch.
a switch?
Yeah. I seen him go down there in the woods and cut this switch, but I didn't think about what he was gonna do with it.
Wow.
And
Times sure have changed, haven't they? How old were you when you married?
I was 20.
20? How old were you?
Don't ask me, I forgot.
Okay.
You know.
How many children did you have?
I had 5,
5 children.
2 boys and 3 girls, and lost both my boys.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it is till you lose a kid.
And how many children do you have?
I had one. That was enough.
What's her name?
Sheila Rutledge.
Sheila Rutledge. How many grandchildren do you have?
I have one grandkid. His name's Ethan Rutledge. And I have this grandbaby. Her name is Eric Rutledge.
Eris. Great grandbaby.
I got
Great
9 grandkids, I believe that's right. And I don't know how many great grandkids I've got. You should know.
We need to sit and count them up.
Probably about 9 or 10.
Yeah, I think it's 7 great grandkids.
So what was your first car?
The first car that I owned was a 29 Model A. They gave $150 for it. Bought it from Castle Simmons. I don't know.
Was that in Tennessee or Michigan?
Yeah, that was in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
When I went to Michigan, I bought a 1937 Chrysler for $150. I drove it a long time.
So did your parents have a radio?
Not till 59, 49 before they had a radio. And television, I was 20-year-old, 21, before I ever seen a television. I was in Dearborn, Michigan. Uncle Bert Raines, my daddy's brother, he said, "Hey, sit down here and I'm gonna show you something." He said, "It's coming from from New York." And it was hard for me to believe that something was coming. And he turned the television on. I sat right there on the floor and I didn't move. I sat there and watched that television. And I didn't own a television till 1952. And I was working for a guy in Garden City, Michigan, and he sold me a television on a credit, and he come, hooked it up. He made me an antenna out of the arrow wire, put it on top of the house. And the antenna. And I mean, we set up every Saturday night to watch that television.
What'd you watch?
I done forgot
Just
I
whatever
could
come
see
on?
it.
Grandbaby, I guess.
And
Did you listen to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio?
when you could get it, yeah. up in Michigan. Oh,
What?
we used, when we lived around there at the Peeler place where we was raised, they got a radio in 49, I guess it was 49, 48, and the yard and the house would be full on Saturday night listening to Grand Ole Opry.
Neighbors coming to hear?
Neighbors would come, listen to Grand Ole Opry.
There was a lot of entertainment, wasn't it?
That's all the entertainment we had.
So, tell us about your dad, Grandpa Homer Raines, when he was trying to learn to drive a car.
Well, he never did learn to drive a car. He could drive one, but he said he had to look at his feet to see what he was doing, and he couldn't keep up too good. No, Daddy couldn't drive. Well, him and Mama, we had a little old Model A truck, and they took a load of chickens, put wire over the stock rack, and took the chickens to town to sell them, and they let some of them get loose down there, and Daddy drove down there, but I don't know, they got a hold of Ray somewhere or another, and Ray drove back. Daddy couldn't drive it back.
So what was Saturday like at the in Woodbury on
Well,
Saturday?
you couldn't walk down the street hardly on Saturday evening. I mean, people went there in wagons and buggies and horseback and afoot and everything. And it went on. It would be a crowd. Today you go down there, you can look all the way at the end of the street, you might see one person.
And you don't know nothing.
So what, was it trading day, or is that just the one day everybody came to town, or
Everybody comes to town.
on Saturday?
Yeah, everybody go to town on Saturday. And go to movies. I believe it was a quarter. Let's go to movies. That's the only thing there was to do, either to go there at the pool room.
Where was the theater at in Woodbury at that
Well,
time?
that's where Woodson's drugstore was. There ain't nothing there now. There was a post office there after that, and a drugstore. No. Ain't nothing there in that building now.
What's some of the movies you watched? Do you remember?
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
I know the first movie I ever seen, my cousin was down there, over Molder, and Daddy gave her some money and told her to take me to the movies. Well, we went down in there, and sitting on the right side, she went about halfway down, and when the cowboys started running toward me, I jumped up. I didn't want to get run over. And she said, "Sit down, Roy." I thought they was going to run over me.
Was that your first time at the movie?
First movie I ever seen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, Aunt Georgine, what about you? What?
Well, honey, my life wasn't too excitable. I don't remember it.
You don't remember?
Today my memory is worse than it was then.
You don't remember going to the movies?
Lord, no.
Well, what did you do?
I don't remember doing too much of anything, I reckon.
Did you work in the garden?
I worked in the garden, yeah. Worked at the shirt factory when I got 16-year-old.
Everybody worked at the shirt factory, didn't
Had to
they?
get working papers to work there then, yeah.
You did.
40 cents an hour.
Well, when that shirt factory was built, they come around there at the county garage and got 4 or 5 of us biggest boys. We dug that foundation with a pick and shovel, And when we get to them limestone rocks, we'd take a jackhammer. But they got me and Odell Stacy and Ralph Raines and James Haley. Seems like there's somebody else. Went around there and we dug that foundation, picking shovel. Dr. Adams would come around there every evening to see what we had done, see how much we'd got done, you know.
Uh-huh. For the foundation for the shirt factory?
Yeah.
Colonial Corporation?
And then, I don't know, on the last there, I hope Cephas Parker haul lumber. We hauled it from out here, Hollow Springs, Ulysses Surprise. And then Cephas would haul the lumber down there.
And your mother worked there too as well,
That's the
didn't
first
she?
job Mama ever had, is down there. And then she didn't have no job. There weren't nothing, a woman here, weren't nothing for a woman in here. And in Cannon County at that time.
She had a lot of experience though, didn't she? Sewing.
I guess she had experience of
She
something.
made all their clothes.
Yeah. And
You look at some of their clothes and tell.
She made your clothes.
Yeah, poor old Octy Phillips went down there to get her a job.
No, it's that little one.
She went down there to get her job and she asked him if he needed any doublers today. That's what Uncle John Williams said she asked him, if he needed any doublers.
What was the
What was
doubler?
that?
I
Folding.
don't know, she didn't know either.
Folding in
Folding, I
the
guess.
pressing department.
Yeah,
Give her.
so,
Tell me who's in that picture.
Mama and Daddy and Roy and Clark and them.
You want
I wasn't hatched
to
yet.
turn it around? You
You
want
see their droopy drawers?
And she made their clothes.
Well, she made their clothes, yeah.
Yeah, well, they look good.
If she hadn't made them, they wouldn't have had none.
well, we lived out there. I don't know, go back to grandma's every once in a while, lived there, and that's where we lived when, Mom and Daddy was at the barn, milking, feeding, whatever, and left me and Clark and them at the house and had a swing Themmy was sitting in the middle of the house, and Clark playing with a stick, and he stuck it in the fireplace and stuck it to the wall, and I hollered to old Daddy, the house is on fire. He come in there and jerked them paper. Oh, back then the houses were papered with newspapers, something like that. There weren't no wallpapers. He jerked them papers off that wall, and he got it put out. Then he worked on us, me and Clark. So I didn't have nothing to do with it, Clark. Set the house on fire.
You told a story one time about going to this lady's house, and Grandma was gonna sew, and you and Uncle Clark were.
We went down here on Red Hill Road,
Billy King.
and Mama was trying to sew. She didn't have no sewing machine, and she was using Miss Ada King's sewing machine. And me and Clark didn't have nobody to watch us, and so we found us an oil can and got on the front porch, and it would squirt that oil. We never had seen one of them to each other. And poor old later, she seen that, and she said, Billy will have a fit when he comes home. And I imagine that oil was there when the house was tore down, you know, you squirt oil. And Mama said she never was gonna take us nowhere else. But she gave us a whipping we got on. We got a whooping every day.
Just one? Just one whipping?
Oh, we got more now. I haven't got them after getting to bed. She come in there and turn that cover down and you go to sleep then. She brought that switch in there.
What you whippings for?
Well, punching each other, making a racket, aggravating.
So did Uncle Ray ever get in on all that? Was
Now,
he
see,
too
Ray
young?
was 10 years younger than me.
Yeah. Well, you and Uncle Clark must have been the two rowdy ones.
Yeah, we kept the others quiet.
So what about I've heard some stories swinging from the grapevines.
Oh, swinging on the grapevine. Daddy cut this
That was one jump.
Daddy cut this grapevine off behind the barn, and took the axe and helped up there and cut it off. See, we couldn't reach it then. He said, now, you don't build there, somebody gonna get killed. We was going out swinging over them treetops. Well, we went and made us another, and John William and them came, and I don't know, there's 3 or 4 of us and their kids, and Ralph and Eva, and 2 are born, swing on the grapevine. So we talked about, reckon we could take off here and just go across that gully and land on the other side. So I don't know what that family tried to do that, or her hand slipped off, and she fell in a bunch of bluffs over there, but she didn't get hurt bad, just her knee. And
Did y'all put her up to that? You reckon?
no,
Do you think she wanted to do
We
that?
thought maybe her hand slipped off, just hold to it,
Uh-huh.
swing over. Well, the peddler come, and Mama, of course, I don't think she went to the doctor, but she was sitting out there in an old cane bottom chair, sitting in one chair and her leg foot up in the other, and then the peddler came by. He came every 2 weeks, and he said, well, young lady, what happened to your leg? She said, I hurt it. Well, that's all she ever said. When he left, Mama said, then he could see us hurt. He wanted to know how you hurt it. She didn't tell him how she hurt it. She just told him she hurt it. Yeah.
Okay,
You
so
didn't get in on none of that?
Well, I remember that very well. But I don't remember swinging on
didn't
it. I was a little bit
didn't
too little, I guess.
didn't Aunt Thelma get her collarbone broke by playing a
She
game?
got a lot of bones broke or something, did she? I think she did. She got,
We got ready to go to the fair, and her and Georgina Ray one was going to run a race out to the road, and she fell and broke her collarbone, and she fell out the bed. She had a whole lot of problems breaking her collarbone.
We're trying to keep up with you and Uncle Clark.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. So, so you went to work at Avco. Do you remember what year you went to work at Avco?
1948.
48. And what year did you retire?
Well, I didn't work there till I retired. I worked at a lot of different places through
You-
life.
Did you retire from Avco?
No, I got laid off. I got a call. I could have went down to Ohio and worked. I don't know what you were doing down there. I don't remember. But I could have went down there and worked for Avco.
Well, I
How many
had
years did you work there?
Off and on 4 years.
Avco, where they made the planes.
Oh, for
Oh,
Avco?
Yeah.
I thought you was talking about.
Here's one of the planes that you helped make.
Yeah, it's
Can you tell us what you did there?
dancing jigs, shooting rivets, but I'd a little while, and I'd been on the job driving tow motor. I drove tow motor for 20 years, and they built a C-130 and L-1011, B-1 bomber. They built about 3 different, well, they just built parts for them, wings. And this is where I retired. They gave me a chainsaw.
Now, where did you retire from?
After,
Okay.
in that, 1986, I believe.
1986.
That's when I retired and started drawing my Social Security.
And then you started farming.
I traded cattle, I didn't farm.
Well,
I started raising Holstein heifers and trading them. Ben Clark.
You bought that land up on Cavender.
so you enjoyed cattle,
Oh yeah,
raising cattle. And do you still have some cows?
I got 2.
And this is your helper, right?
Yeah, she feeds them. She said she wasn't feeding them all the cattle, but she feeds these every once in a while.
There was one, yeah. And the cats and the chickens, my
Yeah,
job.
she feeds.
And burning in the trash.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good that
But I
y'all
ain't
got
never got
each
no
other.
check for a chick.
Well, maybe you'll get one. Mm-hmm. Okay, y'all got any questions you want to ask? What was the cost of gas when you bought your first
I can remember
car?
gas, $1, 20 cents a gallon. 20 cents a gallon.
Was that with your first car?
Well, that's long about that time.
At that
Had
time.
to be on the gas that they was bought. About,
$4 today, I hear.
you could see people pull up and they would get 3 gallons of gas for $1. A lot of people would just buy $1 worth of gas. But today you couldn't get the hose wet for $3, for $1.
Did you drive a car one time that run on kerosene?
Well, I went downtown. You had to have during World War II, you had to have a stamp. You had a A, B, and a T stamp. And if you didn't just have a car and didn't, well, you just had a stamp, and you get 3 gallons of gas a week. That's all you get. So I got downtown and run out of gas. I guess, I don't remember exactly what happened, but Kent Stacy sold me some coal oil and some gallon of coal oil and 2 gallons of gas. Then my truck wouldn't start. And he pulled me through town, and my daddy was standing on the street down there somewhere when I went back through town. And boy, he had a fit. He said, I know you's going through here 100 miles an hour. And then pulling. We got this. We finally got it started, and me and Clark started home in it, and it wouldn't pull the hill no further. There's the old highway up there to Rock Crusher. We couldn't get it as far as we could get it, and we had a wash skittle that Mama used, and I think it's still up at Clark's or somewhere. I don't know where it's at. And we took it down there and got it. This old mule had run over it and broke a hole in it, and we took it down there and John Markham welded it and fixed it. Well, we couldn't get up the hill in that truck, and me and Clark took that wash skittle and off down the hill and hid it. And we walked from there home, and the next day we got John Woods. He had an old truck, a little bigger than that. He went down there and pulled us up the hill. That coal oil didn't have a lot of power to it.
So tell us who your grandparents were on your dad's side.
Well, my grandpa was Lige Raines, that's them up there, and that's my grandma, Anna, she was, I think I told her, she was a Woods, Mary Raines. And on my mother's side, it was Ransom Sadler. And what was Mama's
No, well, I don't know.
Mama's mother's name? I don't remember.
She was
But
a Lemons.
She was a
Yeah,
Lemons,
she was
yeah.
Lemons.
But
But I can't remember what her first name was. Of course, we never did see her.
she died when Mama and them was little girls. Well, all the kids was little. He married again, and they all got run off from home. And Uncle Hoyt, that was Mama's brother, he joined the CC camps in 1936. And he come home one time, and he left and went to Oregon, and he died after. He never did come back. He had 5 kids. I got some cousins out there somewhere if they still living. I've never seen.
And how many kids was in her family?
In Mama's family?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
She was a twin, right?
Yeah, she had a twin sister, Cora, married George Lowe.
That's a picture somewhere here, probably.
Okay.
And they was about 6
Ain't
girls
Elsie
and
been
2
over?
boys.
Mama and Aunt Cora and
Ain't no anything else, and ain't Armand and all them, little Judy.
Uncle Hal and Uncle Hoyt.
2 boys.
Okay.
But we never did know them when we were little.
You got anything else you want to talk about, or?
Well,
Where is most of your family buried at?
all my daddy's family's buried at Cherry Graveyard. And, of course, buried Daddy down here at Midway, and then buried Mama down there. But his family, his mother and Daddy and all them, his brothers and sisters buried at Cherry Graveyard. And Mama's family's buried at Gilly Hill.
Is there anything you want to talk about or add?
Honey, I don't reckon I know nothing.
Did you help your mother cook?
Did I do what?
Help your mother cook breakfast? And
I guess I did. Probably made a bigger mess than I've done any good. But
well, your stove. How early did y'all have to get up to cook breakfast and
Lord, I don't know. Daylight, I guess.
milk the cow?
Wood stove.
Yeah.
5 o'clock,
Did you milk
4
cows?
o'clock.
Huh?
Did you milk any cows?
Yeah, I had to milk a cow before I went to school and milk one that night. We had to go down the hollers and get them that evening when we got in from school. Big holler and little holler.
And is that where you took your milk to keep it cold
No, you.
in the creek?
In the
No,
spring.
we
We
had,
had the milk that they drank. I never did drink milk. Milk they drank went to the spring in a gallon jug and put it under the spout of the spring, and it stayed cold. But when we sold milk, we put it in this your milk can, big old
10
galvanized
gallon can,
10-gallon can, and would have to.
draw water
After we
out.
finally got a well dug, we had to draw water and put that can in the tub and keep it cold till mail come the milkman come every day, so.
So you had a milkman to come to your house,
Yeah,
bring you
Kill
some
'em.
milk. So why didn't you drink milk?
I just never did like
they
it.
didn't like it.
I never have drunk milk.
Didn't like it.
We raised our own water.
Well,
said they raised you on water, drank the water.
I don't know what they raised me on.
Maybe you drank goat's milk.
No, I didn't drink goat's milk. I loved my goats. Had to carry milk to the spring every morning to keep it cold in the spring and go back and get it that evening. Had to carry our drinking water down there too till we got a well dug, and that was a long time.
Where'd you get your water from? The spring
Yeah,
to drink?
off down the hill behind the house, pretty good ways. Carry buckets of water.
Yeah, Clark got down there, him and Thelma went to get some water, and Thelma was filling up her bucket, and Clark, he knocked it out of the way and filled up his, and then come on back towards the house. Thelma come back to the house and didn't have no water. Well, Clark got a whipping for the way he done her kitchen. Knocked her bucket out, and she was scared, and she come on the house, and Clark got a whipping. I don't mind this too hard, but he said, Daddy said, now let's share your tale about it, Thelma. She said, I forgot it. She forgot what had happened. She thought she was gonna get a whooping, but she didn't.
So, did y'all go barefooted most of the time?
Barefooted
Most
too.
of the time, I guess we did, yeah.
Yeah, we went barefooted to school. We got a picture here made at school. That school picture, I don't know where it's at, but
Let's see it.
there it is.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. And
You won't be getting it.
all them kids in that school is all dead. I'm the only one living.
Do you know what year that was? In
That made 1964, 34.
34.
Was barefooted, built overalls. Clark, he's sitting, I'm next to the end down there. And Clark is sitting between Ralph and Junior Parker, I believe.
So tell us about, was it someone that shot the TV when the wrestling was on?
John Sadler. He didn't like what was going on, and he took a shotgun and shot the TV. He said his brother should have got the whooping, said he shouldn't have set that gun down and it loaded. But
So that took care of the wrestling, I guess.
yeah, it
didn't
took care of the wrestling that night. He said he got 2 whippings, said his mother whipped him then, and when his daddy come home, he whipped him.
So I have a picture here. It's a very faint picture, but tell me what you know about these boys.
Greg probably knows more about these than I do. Them Rains, were there 7 of them?
7 brothers.
One of them is your grandpa or great-grandpa.
My great grandfather's Ike Raines, yeah.
What was his name?
Ike.
Isaac Riley.
Yeah. There were 2 Ike Rains. Daddy had a brother named Ike. But now Enoch and Joe, and I knew them. But others, I guess I've seen them. Not all of them, but I knew. And what was Jay's daddy's name? Newt?
Not sure, that might be right.
Yeah.
So where were these, where did most of the Rainses live?
Out in Marson,
In
Rains,
Jacksboro.
Jacksboro.
they called it Rainstown, didn't
They did for a while, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There was 7 of these kids here I'm talking about. They looked for a ball team or something. I
Mhm.
heard them talking about it. Yeah,
They were all boys, right?
all boys. I don't know whether there's a girl. There weren't no
No,
girls
I don't
in that
think there
family.
was.
I don't think. Yeah.
Okay,
What
well,
about Jane
I don't know much about him.
Who?
Jay Raines, Sonda,
Jay
wants you to
Raines.
talk about him?
Well, did you ever see Jay?
I never did.
I went to see him twice. And I don't know whether his daddy thought I was gonna, if you don't straighten up, you're gonna get down there with him or something. I know what Jay told, Jay said, you don't want to come down here. Yeah.
and what was it Jane had done?
Well, how old are you, Cora? 69?
How old am I now?
Yeah.
I believe I'm 88.
All right, 88 years ago, the day before Cora was born, the days, what's the day,
23rd
23rd?
of July.
Well, on the 28th, that's when Jay and Cotton and Taft them robbed the Morrison Bank and killed that doctor. Cause I remember back then you had a radio, you know, or nothing, and Dr. Adams come over there when Cora was born, and I remember sitting on the porch and hearing him tell my daddy about them robbing the bank. Yeah. Clifton Cotton, he was a school teacher. But he got on the wrong track.
Didn't they send them a letter?
Huh?
Send them a letter and tell them they was coming?
I didn't hear you.
Didn't
What?
they send them a letter and tell them they was coming?
Oh yeah, they told him they were coming, rob the bank, and when he went in there to rob the bank, Tal Fuller's the one that killed Dr. Clark. He was the driver. He was sitting in the car. When Dr. Clark told him to step out, he come up with that gun and shot him then. And Jay and Tal was in the bank, but when Jay went in, he told him, he said, I'm Jay Raines, the bad man. They told him it was coming. They just got $500.
Hmm.
They'd done locked the money up somewhere else or done something. So. But he spent the rest of his life in the pen. They didn't aim for him to get out, but when he died, Clifton Cotton and Taft got out. And Cotton run a gas station in Chattanooga.
Well, is there anything else you want to talk about, or anything that you can think of? I know Daddy has
What?
lots of stories, but
What was your first car you had?
A 41 Mercury. I bought it from Clark.
Look at Debbie and tell them.
41 Mercury. I bought it from Clark. Green.
green.
I had a picture of me sitting on top of it with Jackie in my arms. I don't know how I got up there, but I did.
So you live most of your
Life.
in Coffee County, right?
No, I lived most of my life, I guess, in Camden County.
Well,
I didn't go to Coffee County until I got married.
who'd you marry?
Kenneth Davis, first time. And he died. I don't even remember what year he died. And then I married Linwood Duke. I can't remember what year that was.
Now, you used to raise some dogs,
Little Eskimo Spitz.
yeah. Tell us about that.
When no trouble sailed, all they had to do is take them to the flea market or to a parking lot in a store, Walmart or somewhere. They went like hotcakes. They was the prettiest little things ever was, wasn't
And who
it?
would
You had
pedal
one,
them?
didn't you? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Who would pedal them around and show them off?
Me and Kenneth or Linwood, whichever one was available,
Me and Sheila.
and Sheila, I guess.
That's kind of how Sheila, you paid for her college, wasn't it?
I guess, honey, I don't know.
If it's good, they so good.
Oh, yeah, they
So
saw
how
it.
many mama dogs did you have?
Well, I had 5 or 6 mama dogs.
So you were busy a lot.
I was busy a lot, but they wasn't no trouble. They minded. They stayed down there in front of the barn and they had a fence up and they didn't get out like them crazy dogs up here does.
Yeah,
Like they had war up here the other night.
yeah. What other kind of cars did you drive?
Well, I drove a 48 Chevrolet. That was a pretty car, fleet line. But one time when we had this pickup truck, I don't guess you was even at home then, but Clark had borrowed all my money that I had to get a flat tire fixed, and he's supposed to pay me back, and he never did pay me back. But he told me I could drive. I wasn't old enough to drive. I could drive down to Aunt Mary's. We was going down there that evening. So when it come time to go, everybody else got in the truck to go, and Mama said, "Where's Corgine at?" And of course, I'd done hid behind the house, stuck my head around. She seen me, and she found out what the trouble was. But I didn't get to drive. He got my money.
So who drove?
But I learned to drive. I could drive most anything.
Mhm. So having big brothers, was that,
Huh?
having these two big brothers, what was that like?
Bad.
Bad?
Bad.
Oh,
You was always in trouble when you was around them. Or you got in trouble. And they laid it on you.
you got the blame, huh?
So Mama found out where I was at, peeked around the house, she made me come. But I didn't get to drive. Lost my money and didn't get to drive.
That's a bad deal, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. I think that was about a 42 little Chevrolet truck. You remember it?
Honey, I don't know what you're talking
So I remember a blue
So I wasn't
Volkswagen.
very old. I wasn't old enough hardly to drive, about 10, I guess.
I remember a blue Volkswagen.
Oh, I had 3 or 4 Volkswagens.
Did you?
Sonda and Sheila, they tried to drive, and one of them start one way around the house up here and doesn't go the other way. They's almost about to hit head on.
We
Remember
made
that?
it.
You was driving Barbara's, Sheila's driving mine.
Yes.
And one day, once we're down at the house, and you went up to Mr. Willis's shed to put air in your tires of the bicycle, and I told you not to go up there when Mr. Willis wasn't at home. So, come back down, that's when you said I used the ball bat onions.
The green plastic ball bat.
They probably needed it.
They badly needed it, I'm sure. And then Sonda got thrown on my 4-wheeler,
Ninny back.
mini-bike, was that what it was? Yeah. And she come up with a mouthful of grass.
So you drove a straight shift, the Volkswagen.
That's all I ever drove.
And what do you still
about.
drive today?
See what,
A stick
who you
shield.
had there.
95,
And you're how old?
88,
And what model is your little Toyota truck?
95. Bought it new.
And you still drive a
Still
stick
driving.
shift
Stick
vehicle?
shift.
Here you have a birthday coming up.
I've canceled it.
Canceled it.
It should be the 26th. But I'm going out of town that night.
Tuesday.
Is that when it is? Tuesday?
I think.
Supposed to go over to
Monday.
Sheila's.
Tuesday. Yeah,
Now, these,
Tuesday.
these pictures here is made in Willow Run, Michigan. Willow Run. I mean, this one here is, this one.
How many jobs did you have in Michigan? Different ones.
I worked for all the automobile factories, Ford, General Motors, Kaiser, Fraser, and different times you would work. You didn't have a seniority, you would get laid off. There'd come a layoff, and I'd go somewhere else and get it. At one time, I worked Kaiser and Fraser and General Motors. I worked 2 weeks. I was told I could do it. I mean, I'd get off one place, get off at General Motors and go to Kaiser and Fraser work. That'd like kill me.
Didn't Daddy used to work at Kaiser and Fraser?
Yeah. Yeah, Daddy worked up there.
So which one did you like the best?
Mm.
Were they all the same?
Just
The
work,
automobile plants,
work, I guess.
Kaiser and Fraser, I guess.
So there's no longer a Kaiser and Fraser, right?
What?
Kaiser and Fraser? What did that turn into, or what? Was that what kind of cars and vehicles did they make?
Kaiser and a Fraser.
So did they just become,
That Fraser was supposed to have been about equal to the Lincoln. Something like that.
so they weren't bought out by another company, they just did away with them, or
I
what?
don't remember.
Don't remember.
No, I don't think so. They don't build cars there.
Now, where did you live when Barbara and Debbie was born?
When Barbara was born, I lived right here at this place here, Willow Run, Michigan. And I still lived there when Debbie was born. They was born in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Tommy was born in Garden City, Michigan, and Gail was born in Woodbury. And they called Tommy the big hillbilly baby or something like that, big hillbilly.
Why'd they call him that?
He was weighed about 11 pounds.
He was a big baby.
He was a big baby. Yeah. Yeah, he was sure was.
Now, where did you live when I was born?
I
Right
lived
down
up
the
here,
road.
Down the road here.
Where was you working?
When you was born,
Yes.
I was working, I think I got laid off. I was working down in Murfreesboro where they made the practice bomb.
Oh.
Yeah. And
And I still have that one bomb.
still got it. Yeah,
That's
hold on to that.
I still have the one bomb.
Made that. So that's about all I know, I believe, boys and girls.
So, Acorn Jim, what is the price of gas today?
I got some for $4 today.
How
The
much?
last $4 out here at the gas station just in town. But every one of the pumps was, like somebody sitting at every one of the pumps.
Yes.
I put in $20 worth of 5 gallons.
What else? Thank you, Christian. Okay, what about the price of a dozen of eggs? $3?
$3.59 I give for a dozen eggs. Linda's been supposed to bring me some eggs. She ain't got around to it yet.
So you gave $3.59 at where?
For a dozen eggs.
I can remember selling for 12 cents a dozen.
I guess so.
And now we drink a lot of our water from bottled water.
Oh yeah, I got a gallon of water. I get a gallon of water about every time I go to town.
And how much is that?
Well, where I get it at the Dollar Tree, dollar and a quarter now, it was $1.
$1.25 for a gallon of water.
Used to get it for $1. Till everything's went up at the dollar. At the Dollar Tree, everything is $1. Anything in the store was $1. Now it's $1 and a quarter, and some of it's $3, and some of it's $5. It's only to what you get.
Got a picture here of Debbie holding Sonda, and I don't think she's holding her right the way Barbara's looking at her. And Tommy, him and Barry Sane was riding the bicycle down this lane down here with their eyes closed.
What did
And he run into the
I
barbed
remember
wire
when he had this purple medicine on him.
Yeah, sure. Barbed wire fence, and I was talking to Leola about that here a while back. She said, I would say Mr. Berry opened his eyes. But Tommy didn't. He run into that fence. And Thelma got her pictures of sitting in the pig
That's
pen.
57. Ain't it? 57.
She's
That's the first car she ever owned.
What was that?
I think it's 57.
57 Ford.
57 Ford, blue and white.
But Lord, she wanted that picture took away, thrown away. She didn't want nobody to see that picture. She wouldn't have said, she
Oh, in
wouldn't,
the pig pen.
she wouldn't have been, she sat down that, and Tommy or Gail one made her picture. And it said up over her head, it said pig pen.
That was up in the Smokies.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said that she wanted that tore up. I said, well, people like to look at that. And Uncle Hoyt, he went in CC, I think I done told that, he went in CC camps in 1936. Then got sent to California and never did come back. That's his
You mean
picture,
Oregon,
and
don't you?
his picture and family there.
I say you went to Oregon, didn't you, or California?
Really, Oregon instead of California. Oregon. Well, that's about all I can think of. Greg?
All right. Well, thank you for the interview.